urban sprawl. It's found all over the world. And inside this sprawl is public transit. From buses to light rail, all the way up to heavy commuter rail. Needless to say, public transit is a very important part of society all around the world. From Germany's U-Bahn to Switzerland's Gotthard Railway. Yes, it would seem that public transit all around the world is an important part of infrastructure and for the most part very well refined and very well done. Well, with one exception really. And the question on a lot of Americans' minds recently is, why is America's public transportation so bad? And to answer that, we have to go back. Way back. In the late 1800s, horse-drawn carriages and horses were the typical mode of transportation. Other than that, you usually had to walk or use a bicycle. At least until around the 1890s, when all of a sudden, the automotive industry saw a massive boom. All because of this man, Henry Ford, and his invention, the Model T, which has now led to this. Yes, the rich and well-off were the intended customers for cars, whereas the poorer people were left with their buggies and horses. My, how the times have changed, right? Back on topic, cars grew in popularity until the 1920s when the Great Depression hit and nobody could afford anything, and lasted until a certain German dictator decided he wanted to be a horrible human being.
To have had such a lad, tell your sweetheart not to pine, to be proud her boys in line. Over there,
With World War II having kicked off in 1939 and America joining the fight in 1941, a lot of automotive manufacturing switched over to aircraft or to tanks.
On the perimeters of 20-odd fields of the 8th Air Force, more than 400 forts and liberators, with their 4,000 crew members, taxi for the takeoff.
At the end of World War II, all these manufacturing companies were left with all this equipment and nothing to do with it. And that's when they decided, hey, let's start making cars. What really helped it along, though, was an act from 1933 that my second cousin, twice removed, decided would be a good idea and ended up basically dooming public transportation. From then on, cars started becoming easier to get, highways started expanding, and public transportation was a long-lost memory. Until about the 1970s, when public transit started to look like a better idea, all because of one thing: the 1973 oil embargo. No, this is not a video about the Yom Kippur War. This is a video about public transportation. Let's get back on track. Speaking of tracks... Light rail started to see a resurgence around the same time that public transit did, after having a lot of their infrastructure torn apart by the National City Alliance Company at the behest of General Motors. Yes, that General Motors, in 1939. But unfortunately, not everything started recovering very well. While both buses and light rail were starting to see some success, heavy commuter rail was seeing the exact opposite. Passenger service route miles fell from 107,000 miles in 1958 to just 49,000 miles in 1970, which was also the last year of full private operation. Proliferation of aircraft becoming the new way to get to different cities from your current city led to 20 different companies merging together to form Amtrak, which at the time of recording is the only interstate heavy commuter rail in the United States of America. For now, at least.